ideas, they're great, but even what Brian was trying to do, it wasn't going to work. It was never going to work because he died without the work.
Wondering another point off of what this panel is about ethics, but for the characters, I think for a certain point it doesn't always stay within the question of morals, within good or evil. I think it sort of becomes a situation of who has power. So I want to know if anyone has anything to say about that.
I can hear that.
Well, in this particular question, I mean, it's more like saying stuff. Power is usually being in many different forms. Now, with death note, I mean, if Shinigami gave Kira the power to literally just write down the name of a certain individual, either describing how the person died, or just write down the name, and the person dies of a heart attack. I mean, that type of power can literally destroy somebody's actual being, because he's high-minded, power is not meant to be used musically. And in this anime, as in the manga, I did read it, shows that he responsibly used it to gain a personal goal, which in my opinion was never even possible to be unattainable. Because in the world today, it doesn't matter if you are an upstanding citizen or downright no-good son of a gun, is that you'll always have half of one side and half the other. There's no true, pure good or pure evil. In yin and yang, there never will be.
Sorry,
Well, clap for that.
cutting in between you guys, but it's my panel, I can do what I want. Absolute power. But he raises a point on corruption, which, and although I kind of wanted to correct you on something. Ryuk didn't give him the death note. He just happened to find it, which I think is really interesting because I always like to think of hypotheticals, what would have happened if he never fixed up? Do you guys think, he just would have continued on his way, became a police officer, would have been bored the rest of his life?
No.
That would have made for a really, really boring series. Were you guys on good and evil power? What kind of...
The more you talk, the more topics you give me to talk about.
Yeah, excellent. Because...
I'm going to give you all a turn to talk, and we'll just throw stuff at you.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring up again, what would have happened if L got the death note?
Oh.
He needs it.
I think, like Raito, he would have been curious. I think he would have tried it. Because then, how many of you guys would have tried it if you found it? That's what I want to see. Because, I think it's just part of our human condition to be naturally curious. And you're given something like this. You have to see, okay, this is Raito. This is totally a joke. It's not going to work.
So I'm saying that, the death note is not a source of corruption or power. The power within it.
I think it's a tool to defeat corruption.
Kind of like One Ring.
The One Ring of Power. It's the One Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings.
I was kind of going back to the good and evil. I was in a psychology class, and they're like, okay, we're going to talk about criminals' rights and evil, what's good. But I've learned from that psychology class, everything that we think is right is mostly from a social norm. Being decent in public, that's a social norm. That flashing everybody, that's a social norm. But then there's some things where they're like, someone does something weird, they're like, no, that's wrong. We did a discussion once in the class
He's really big on here.
What they've done wrong, right?
You look like the girl from Danger Sock Scooters.
He's using something that's commonly
She's wearing a Tamaki wig.
He's using something that he thinks is right. That's where the gray area is.
That also kind of, I'm jumping characters since we're off track and we're just on issues right now, but I kind of want to talk about Matsuda.
Woo!
Okay, wait, I'm glad you mentioned that.
This is not a Matsuda fan, like, area.
I love Matsuda.
Me too!
Oh, thank you. Alright. I love you getting points. But earlier, someone mentioned something about no like pure evil characters. Like, does anyone think there are any pure characters in Death Note?
Matsuda.
Suichiro Yakuza. You're evil. What do you say that? No, we didn't say he accidentally died. We just said he dropped it.
Right, so, you forgot my ass.
We know that the Shinigami also like to watch shenanigans, and Ryu might have been watching this individual like the guy, and he might have noticed, well, this is the type of person that has a personality where I can play with him and see what he can do with it, knowing that he doesn't have sense of justice. And I think the Shinigami Ryu realized that life was used to that in a way that would please him. Ryu's just looking for pleasure in the whole activity. He's looking for evil pleasure. He wants to see humans kill humans.
I guess people line are responses.
Oh, I wanted to respond.
Lion panel! Co-panel.
Sorry.
Well, you're on air.
Sorry, digression. I picked on the one word you said, jumped out, play. Exactly. Everything that kind of happened around Drake was a game. He's the only one who wins in the end. I mean, that's it. He is the sole champion in Death Note. He got exactly what he wanted. But yeah, he's also purely evil, though. He's very... Sorry. I'll hand it over to you.
Like, what he's telling Ryu is what I look at, how pretty much it's not really Ryu's fault. It's basically you're blaming the Death Note, because the Death Note is the one that holds everything here. If Ryu didn't have that,